Hey, what's up, YouTube? Well, the 2018 NFL Draft first round just concluded. I just finished watching it. So for this video, man, a lot of stuff went down for this first round. I'm just going to give you guys my quick reaction, quick thoughts here, and what I liked, what I didn't like from what teams did, just my general thoughts. And we're going to just start right here with the quarterbacks. This is the biggest storyline going into the draft. Where would all these guys fall? How many would be first-round picks? And the Cleveland Browns, the biggest one. This was the biggest domino to fall. Who would they pick to start off the draft? As you know, my mock draft, I had Sam Darnold going to the Cleveland Browns, and they dropped a complete bombshell on me personally when they selected Baker Mayfield out of Oklahoma to be their next franchise quarterback. Just wow. I cannot believe it. There was rumors going in about a few hours before the draft that Cleveland, Baker Mayfield was their guy, and he's been their guy for a long time. I just assumed because of Cleveland, the way that division works out, that a bigger quarterback would be in better of a need there. So I had it between Darnold and Josh Allen. Obviously, I think, Dorsey, their GM, he's in Green Bay when they drafted or they traded for actually Brett Favre. So he was in that front office. He saw how Brett Favre's personality kind of impacted that entire organization, which led them on their big string of success that they've had over the past 20, 25 years. And I think he must have saw something very similar in Baker Mayfield from a personality standpoint that can turn this organization around. Because if you remember Baker Mayfield, he had that either yesterday, I forget, or earlier in the day. I think it was a few days ago where he put out a photo basically replicating the Brett Favre photo of getting drafted, basically saying that he's got that Brett Favre's kind of swag. And I think Dorsey sees kind of a similar thing there. I would have gone with a Darnold, I think, or even a Josh Allen personally. Darnold would have been the safest pick for me. With Baker Mayfield, I question his size in Cleveland, whether that's going to translate. Personally, I don't think he was the best fit for Cleveland. But if Dorsey thinks he's a guy with his personality to turn that organization around, they need someone with a winning attitude first and foremost at that quarterback position, because they've been 1-31 over the past two seasons. They need a winner. And Baker Mayfield, he's proven throughout his entire college career that he's got that attitude where he's going to bring a win-first mentality to the organization. He's got a chip on his shoulder, and we'll see if it works out for them. With all these quarterbacks here, there wasn't too big of a difference in the way I graded them, so I can't be mad with the pick. I didn't think Mayfield was the best pick for Cleveland, but hey, I like Dorsey a lot as a GM. I think he knows what he's doing, and I'm going to trust that pick for the Browns. Now, Sam Darnold, he ended up going to the Jets at number 3. The Giants decided to pick Saquon Barkley, which safe pick for them. I think that would end up doing very well for them overall. Sam Darnold going to the Jets, this is a best-case scenario, I think, for the New York Jets. I had them picking Mayfield, so they kind of traded quarterbacks here in terms of what I thought was going to happen. But Sam Darnold, I think, is a great pick for the Jets. They're in a situation with McCown and Bridgewater there that they don't need to play Darnold right away. They can sit him on the bench and redshirt him a year. He can work on his mechanics a little bit to make sure he's not fumbling the ball as much in the pocket. I think that's a perfect situation for Sam Darnold. I think he's the right pick for the Jets overall. I think it was a blessing for the Jets that he fell to them. And then Josh Allen. I got the team right. I did not get the pick right. But Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills ended up trading up to the 7th pick to pick Josh Allen. And, man, I thought that was just a perfect blend of, right team, right player, because Josh Allen, he fits the prototypical physical profile of a quarterback that you want for Buffalo. He's big. He's got a cannon of an arm, big hands, big size overall. I think he'll be perfect there. It'll be a question of whether he's going to have to play right away or pretty soon, because I don't trust A.J. McCarron as a starting quarterback for this season. I feel like he's going to struggle and he might get injured because he's not the biggest guy overall. And I feel like Josh Allen's the type of player that if he has to play right away, he might really struggle. He needs a year or two to redshirt and just stay on the bench and learn the quarterbacking position at the NFL level. And that's a bit of a concern for me. But with the Bills here, I have no qualms. Allen was my top-rated quarterback, and I feel like if the Bills can handle this situation right with Allen, get the coaching right, make sure that he's ready to go when he does eventually play, they could get an elite talent, I think. And then Josh Rosen, I got again another situation where I got the team right. I didn't quite get the pick right. I was one pick off. I thought the San Francisco 49ers would trade back. Instead, their Bay Area counterparts, the Oakland Raiders, ended up trading back with the Cardinals. Rosen going up to the number 10 slot. I got that one right. I think Josh Rosen is just a perfect fit for the Cardinals. Very good pocket passer. He can sit behind Sam Bradford, although I think he's going to end up winning that job, I think. I don't think Sam Bradford – here's two things are going to happen. Either Rosen's going to win the job in training camp or early in the season, or Sam Bradford's going to get hurt and Josh Rosen's going to get the job anyway. So either way, I think Josh Rosen's going to play early on, and I think he might have some troubles turning the ball over a little bit because he's a bit of a gunslinger from what I've seen of him. But I think that's a good pick for the Cardinals. I think that is a situation where it can go very well. And then the Baltimore Ravens, they dropped a complete bombshell to kind of end the first round of this draft on an exclamation point. After trading back a bit in the first round to get some extra picks, they used that as extra ammunition to trade up with the Philadelphia Eagles at the 32nd pick to get Lamar Jackson and Joe Flacco. Your time as a Baltimore Raven franchise quarterback is coming to an end, my friend. Joe Flacco, I'm not sure you can call yourself. This might be the motivation for him to maybe do another "I'm elite quarterback" speech again, and maybe get them to another Super Bowl somehow. I don't know, but man, Joe Flacco, it is time for the Baltimore Ravens to turn the page. Man, this is a perfect situation for Lamar Jackson. He can go behind a guy like Joe Flacco and sit for a couple of years. I know Joe Flacco's got a couple of years on his contract still, and they're going to be paying him a lot of money. A lot of guaranteed money still left on that contract, but this is good because Lamar Jackson now he has time to develop as a passer, put some more weight on his frame overall, and just develop his game as a pocket passer overall. I think it's a great pick. Ozzie Newsome, on your last draft as a GM, as an executive, going out with a bang here, not pulling any punches. I love the pick for the Baltimore Ravens. I thought for sure the Patriots, when they passed on him twice, I thought for sure they'd use one of those picks on him, but I guess they weren't as intrigued as I thought they were. But I think that's a great pick for the Ravens. I think Lamar Jackson is a very intriguing fit in Baltimore. So now what I'm going to do for the rest of this video and go over some picks here and there that I really like and dislike. I'm going to start with the ones that I like. Bradley Chubb falling to number 5 for the Broncos was a best-case scenario, I think. I thought he would go to number 4 at the Cleveland Browns, and when he was available there, I thought for sure it was going to happen. I'll get to that pick a little bit later. But, man, Bradley Chubb with the Broncos. You have Von Miller on one side, Bradley Chubb on the other, and they have two contrasting styles as well, where Von Miller is more of a speed guy, Bradley Chubb's more of a power and technique guy. I love that combination for the Broncos. That pass rush is going to be scary. The next pick at number 6, I really like what the Colts did, getting Quentin Nelson. Even though I had Tremaine Edmonds going to them in my mock draft, Quentin Nelson, priority number 1 should be to keep Andrew Luck healthy, I think, for the Colts. And Quentin Nelson's the best guard in this draft, best offensive lineman in this draft by far. Absolutely love the pick for them. I think that's a great plug-and-play Pro Bowl level talent for the Colts there. And now they have a much better offensive line. Much better. It's much improved over last season's. They have actually a pretty good group now for the Colts, that offensive line. And it's especially they need that in that division where you have J.J. Watt, Jadeveon Clowney on the Texans, that Jacksonville, Saxonville as we should call them, though, that crazy pass rush that they have. I like that pick for the Colts. I like the Bears pick of Roquan Smith. I'll have another video on that for you Bears fans out there. I'll touch on that a little bit more in another video. Some other picks I like. The Dolphins, getting Minka Fitzpatrick, getting another versatile player in that defense. I think that the Bills struck gold again, trading up to get Tremaine Edmonds then at 16, trading up there. That's a really good pick, I think, for the Buffalo Bills. They get 2 franchise stalwarts there in Josh Allen and Tremaine Edmonds, 2 guys that have some bust potential, but they have extremely high ceilings, both at top 5, I think, in this draft in terms of ceilings. And then how about the Chargers here? Getting Derwin James at 17? that is a steal. That is an absolute steal. I thought Derwin James was a top 15, top 10 talent in this draft. And, man, I really like that pick for the Chargers. You can feel either the Cam Chancellor role for them and that type of cover 3 system that Gus Bradley likes to run for the defense, or you can play that Earl Thomas role as a free safety. I think he's better off in the Cam Chancellor role personally, but he's got the athletic ability to do either or. So I love that pick for them. Some other ones that I really like here. I mean, Calvin Ridley going to the Falcons is a nice one. I didn't think the Falcons needed a receiver. I was really surprised that Calvin Ridley dropped that far. But, yeah, I think that's a very solid pick for them. Again, I think Calvin Ridley is better suited as a number 2 wide receiver. I think he can be an elite number 2 wide receiver if there's anything close to that. But Julio Jones on one side, Calvin Ridley on the other, that has the potential to be a very dynamic duo for Matt Ryan in that offense. I absolutely love that pick for the Falcons, and a very good value getting him at number 26 in the draft, late first round. And with that said, I'm going to go over some picks that I don't like necessarily. I'm going to start with the Browns here. While I'm intrigued by their pick of Baker Mayfield, the Denzel Ward pick was a bit of a head-scratcher for me. I felt like they were picking for need rather than picking best player available, and I felt like Bradley Chubb would have been a better pick. If they were that focus on drafting a cornerback in this draft or picking Denzel Ward, I felt like they could have traded back a little bit more maybe. Maybe they just weren't getting enough calls for trade back. Maybe that was their plan anyway, but I felt like they were reaching for need here. I like Denzel Ward a lot. He's my number 1 cornerback in this class. I just don't necessarily have him as a top 10 talent, let alone being a top 5 talent. So that's a bit of a concern for me for the Browns there. I don't really know what they're doing there. I would rather have a guy like Bradley Chubb, where you can kind of complement Myles Garrett on that defense. Another pick I'm not really a fan of. How about the Saints here? I really didn't like this at all. Giving up a future first-round pick and then some to move up to 14 to get Marcus Davenport, who's a project anyway. Like, I get that you need pass rush to win this league, but, man, I think they overpaid here. I like Marcus Davenport as a prospect a lot. He's my number 2 edge player in this class, and that's about the range I expected him to go for, but to trade up that much, I mean, they gave up picks that you would normally trade up for a quarterback in order to get that pick. I don't know about the Saints pick. I know they're aggressive. They're in win-now mode with Drew Brees in the final couple years of his career, but, man, I don't know about that. I like Marcus Davenport, like I said, but that was a little bit too much, I think, value-wise for me. And then the very next pick, the Raiders, they did a pretty good job of trading back to get more picks. And then they wasted their first-round pick at number 15 with Colton Miller out of UCLA, offensive tackle. Really? Colton Miller? I know the physical traits are very intriguing. You talk about a guy who's 6'9", very long arms, very athletic. But, man, when I watched him on tape, I was not impressed at all with this guy's ability to play tackle. And really, offensive tackle isn't even that big of an immediate need for them. They need to get younger at that position for sure. But, one, I felt like this wasn't the draft to address that need. And, two, if they wanted to address it in this draft, they could have waited till the second or third round picks to address that, I think, where they could have gotten a similar type of talent for a much better value. And by doing this, they missed out on 2 elite defensive playmakers or prospects on that defense that, man, they really need defense here. They missed out on Tremaine Edmonds, who went the pick right after them. And then they missed Derwin James, who went the pick right after Tremaine Edmonds. So they missed out on 2 potentially elite prospects for that defense that desperately needs playmakers. I just don't get that at all. I really don't. I don't get what the Raiders are doing in this offseason. And I'll get to their trade for Martavis Bryant in another video that's coming up. John Gruden, starting off this offseason, I've not been a fan of what they're doing so far. Some other picks I'm not entirely a fan of. Rashad Penny to the Seahawks. They traded back in the first round for this with the Packers after they traded back with the Saints. Man, I mean, Russell Wilson, what is this guy going to have to do to get some freaking offensive line help? I mean, come on. They had James Daniels on the board as an offensive line prospect, was there. I mean, come on. You need to address the offensive line, man. This is getting ridiculous. I mean, look who else was on this board. Will Hernandez was on the board at this point. I mean, come on. Get Russell Wilson some help on that offensive line. This is getting ridiculous now. And Rashad Penny, I like him. I really do like him. He wasn't one of my top 5 backs, but I think he was, on the very edge there. Come on, man. Come on, Seahawks. What are you doing? Are you trying to get Russell Wilson killed? He's like the best part of your team right now. They could have either gone defense here or they could have restocked their offensive line. Those were the 2 options. You can get a running back anytime, especially in this draft class, and you're wasting it on Rashad Penny, who I like, but he's not a special transcendent player worth taking in the first round, in my opinion. This makes no sense for me. I don't know what the Seattle Seahawks are doing. That made no sense to me whatsoever. But yeah, those are my general thoughts on the first round of this draft. Very exciting, lots of trades, lots of hysteria going on with the quarterback situation there at the top of the draft for sure. And it's going to be very interesting on day 2 and 3 for the remainder of this NFL draft. So just coming up to remind you guys, I'm going to have more videos for the NFL draft coming up. I'm going to have a video out there for the Bears pick and maybe some other stuff I didn't touch on in this recap. And then once the draft is concluded, I will give you a video where I will break down winners and losers for this upcoming draft. So stay tuned for that. And there's going to be more content for the NBA playoffs coming out as well as some of those NBA series kind of unfold. So make sure you guys stay tuned in what's going on here. Thanks for watching this video. Please leave a like and subscribe for more content such as this. Thanks, guys, for watching.